For today's cup of coffee, we're going to be talking about something that most people have experienced in one form or another over their lifetime.
That's bullshit.
No, it's true. We're talking about doppelgangers. Yeah.
I don't think anyone has actually, I don't think most people have met their doppelganger.
I think they have. It's not in the true spiritual sense of it. But we'll, as we read through here, we'll find out.
All right.
The references that I have today, Wikipedia, of course. And then I have, it's called Gods and Monsters, and this is a really cool website. And this is by Mike Belmont, and he's got some really neat stuff on there. So if you haven't gone to that website, I'll, of course, give the link in the description box. I had forgotten to give the Ray Stevens link to Sitting Up with the Dead, but I did go back and put it in the comment section. So that was pretty cool. And according to Wikipedia, a doppelganger, of course that's a German word, which literally means double walker.
Double walker?
Double walker. It says it's a biologically, or it can be, a biologically unrelated look-alike or a double of a living person. So it doesn't have to be, paranormal. Mm-hmm. And that's just like that kid you were talking about the other day when he's like, "Don't I know you?" And you're like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
So even you have experienced the,
I don't think that's a doppelganger. I think
they're
that's
just
something completely different.
Terms, and this is how terms sometimes change meaning. And that people use words that they have no understanding of the original origin of the word.
Right.
Be that good or bad. Most of the time it's bad. But it says, in fiction and mythology, a doppelganger is often portrayed as a ghostly or paranormal phenomenon and usually seen as a harbinger of bad luck. And other traditions and stories equate a doppelganger with an evil twin. I don't want no evil twin.
I don't want no evil twin either.
We've seen that stuff. In modern times, the term twin stranger is occasionally used. And I would rather them do that when it's speaking about a living person that greatly resembles another living person, and let the term doppelganger remain one for paranormal. Hey, I've got the kidney stones bad. Give me a break today.
I wasn't saying anything. You were the one that was.
Yeah. And there was a book that was called Provincial Glossary of 1787, and they used the term fetch instead of a fetch. I don't know how that works. Around here, it's like if you say somebody to fetch something, that means go get it.
I don't know. Every single time I think of fetch, I think of Mean Girls. Fetch is not going to happen.
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen.
Fetch is not a thing. It will never be a thing.
I've never.
That is so fetch.
The fetch is defined as an apparition of a person living. And Catherine Crow's book on paranormal phenomenon, The Night Side of Nature, that sounds amazing. That was written in 1848. I may have to search for that one.
Yeah.
I need to add that to the collection. Helped to make the German word well known. However, the concept of alter egos and double spirits has appeared in the folklore, myths, and religious concepts and traditions of many cultures throughout human history. And in ancient Egyptian mythology, a ka was a tangible spirit double, having the same memories and feelings as the person to whom the counterpart belongs. That sounds like a clone.
Yeah, it very much does.
That's creepy.
Just a little bit.
That's a lot creepy. And then as in Norse mythology, there is a ghostly double who is seen performing the person's actions in advance, which goes back to the harbinger.
Yeah.
And examples in real life, one of them was John Donne, and Isaac Walton claimed that John Donne, the English metaphysical poet, saw his wife's doppelganger in 1612 in Paris on the same night as the stillbirth of their daughter.
Huh.
And in the what he had quoted, he said, "I have seen my dear wife pass twice by me through this room with her hair hanging about her shoulders and a dead child in her arms."
Oh, God.
And that did indeed happen. And then we've got Percy Bysshe Shelley. If I've mispronounced that, I've got the kidney stones. I've got an excuse today.
She's not able to focus well.
It's rough today on this one. Anyhow, on July the 8th of 1822, and of course Percy Shelley was an English poet, quite known, and his wife was Mary Shelley, we've got a quote by her on our wall because she wrote Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So
Frankenstein is a good story.
It is a good story, and it's a very warning story.
Yeah.
It's like we should have listened. Anyhow, on August the 15th, Mary Shelley she wrote a letter to Maria Gisborne in which she relayed Percy's claims to her that he had met his own doppelganger. And a week after Mary's nearly fatal miscarriage, in the early hours of June the 23rd, Percy had had a nightmare about the house collapsing in a flood.
Oh, jeez.
And they quoted on this, it says, he had told me that it had many visions lately. He had seen the figure of himself, which met him as he walked on the terrace and said to him, "How long do you mean to be content?" And she said that this was certainly not prophetic of what was to occur, but Shelley had often seen these figures when he was ill, and the strangest thing was that another person named Mrs. Williams also saw it.
Oh, dang.
Mm-hmm. And Percy Shelley had written a drama called Prometheus Unbound in 1820, and there was part of a passage from Act 1 that said, "met his own image walking in the garden." So even in his writings, he was aware of this double thing going on.
Uh-huh.
So that's pretty neat. Then you had Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and near the end of Book 6 of his autobiography, which Poetry and Truth, and that was from 1811 to 1833, Goethe wrote almost in passing that he had seen not with the eyes of the body, but with those of the mind. So it's not just me that does that.
Yeah.
His own figure coming towards him on horseback and on the same road, and he was dressed in something that he had never worn. And it says as soon as he shook himself out of the dream, the figure had entirely disappeared. And he says it's strange, however, that 8 years after this vision, he found himself on that very road in the same dress that he had dreamed, and, which he had worn not from choice, but by accident. There is no random. And then you have about George Tryon. A Victorian age example was the supposed appearance of Vice Admiral Sir George Tryon. He was said to have walked through the drawing room of his family home in Eaton Square, London, looking straight ahead without exchanging a word to anyone.
Eaton Square, London? What?
It's
that's
place.
What it sounded like.
It's a place.
Okay.
All right. Without exchanging a word to anyone in front of several guests at a party being given by his wife on June 22nd, 1893.
We love that.
Yeah, while he was supposed to be in a ship in the Mediterranean squadron maneuvering off the coast of Syria. It said subsequently it was reported that he had gone down with his ship, the HMS Victoria, the very same night after it collided with the HMS Camperdown, following an unexplained and bizarre order to turn the ship in the direction of the other vessel.
Ew. Okay, that's freaky.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we want to have a collision and kill lots of people.
Yeah, totally.
And then there's the phenomenon as far as twin strangers, and this is modern times. With the advent of social media, there have been several reported cases of people finding their twin stranger online, which is the modern term for doppelganger.
Yeah.
And it says there are several websites where users can upload a photo of themselves, and facial recognition software attempts to match them with another user of like appearance. Don't do that. No, don't make the AI. No.
I was thinking of doing that at one point.
No, don't make it easier. And then, as far as Mike Belmont from Gods and Monsters, Doppelganger, Spirit, or Omen, and I'm just taking snippets out of both of these. And he says that many people have seen this image of themselves both in life and in visions, talking about the doppelgangers. And other times, a person may be seen walking through a room when they are in actuality several miles away at the time.
Ooh.
The third most common sightings occur when the image of the person appears to walk past an area twice in a row, moving in the same direction to where it would be impossible for the person to have returned there fast enough. And I kept thinking about the black cat in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it being a glitch in the Matrix.
Mm-hmm. Where it walked past twice.
Yeah. And it was in the same direction. So that was my first thought on that. And Mr. Belmont says many scientists believe the phenomenon to occur based on injuries or stimulation of certain parts of the brain, which cause errors in spatial reasoning. Okay, but that one example we had, somebody else saw it too.
Yeah.
So that blows that theory out of the water.
Absolutely it does.
And talking about bad omens, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln saw his twin apparition on several occasions, standing in a mirror while he was lying down across the room.
Ooh.
What he saw each time was an image of himself displaced by a paler second image of himself. And his wife at the time pondered if it meant that he would be elected to a second term but not live through the end of it. And she was right.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, I can't remember if she had dreams or he had dreams, but there were a lot of different warnings that they had about his untimely death.
Right, yeah.
You know, that was a huge thing for him to be assassinated.
It absolutely was.
Yeah, well, any time a president is, assassinated, or most of the time.
Yeah.
And it just changes everything in a split second.
Yep.
And Mr. Belmont I really like the fact that he brought this possibility in here. It says that it leads him to believe that there are likely spirits that mimic the appearance of a person. Many people believe that these spirits have ill intentions and wish to do harm to the person they are mimicking, be it physically, emotionally, or by ruining their reputation. If this were the case, the offending spirit would likely be some form of demon. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's just like we have the technology today, or it exists today, where AI can, or whoever, it can make it appear like a famous person, and somebody else put totally different words.
Deep faking.
How devastating could that be? How
Very.
Dangerous. Why would anybody create something like that?
So I think the technology is actually going to be used for, like, for example, movies and such. Like, if someone cannot do a certain stunt or whatever, they'll just put their face over. Or if they're replicating a person that is dead, they can actually take that dead person's face and digitally and impose it onto that.
And like
person.
I said, it's just never assume that something is going to be used for the power of good.
Right. Because it will always be misused by someone.
Yeah, I mean,
always.
It's just... Okay,
Which
it says,
sad.
This particular phenomenon does not represent the actual person or their actual spirit. I found this very, timely according to our family's situation.
Alright, I'm interested in seeing it. By the way, that was my foot. That was not me.
The apparition is of another origin entirely. It merely looks like the person it is copying. It is not actually that person in a different space or time, nor it is a sign of an out-of-body experience. And he says that there are too many sightings to disregard this, and whatever this creature or spirit is, its appearance is rarely good news. And that brings us back as far as not doubles, but you could relate it to as far as the demonic possession, but that's where you've got different entities in one body as opposed to an entity appearing to be the individual.
Right.
We have lots of reports of body doubles. And, you know, there's a lot of famous people that have used body doubles. There's question about whether people that are high profile today are using body doubles.
Oh, a lot of them do.
And it's just, you know, I think everybody's understanding of reality is in question right now, which is part of the agenda on that, to gaslight everybody to the point they're like, I don't know what the hell is real and what is not.
Yeah, and that's like on TikTok, everybody's freaking out about this new Mandela effect or whatever that's going on, and it's basically whether or not Zero in Nightmare Before Christmas had a red nose through the whole movie, or if it was a jack-o'-lantern.
I had never thought about it, and
it was
it's
just
like
a regular glowing ball.
You know, anything like that, it's a matter of memory. Did you really pay attention? Now, there are certain things, and we will do the Mandela effect fully.
Well, most of us who actually grew up with the movie, we didn't pay attention all that close to it. So now we're like, holy crap, was it a jack-o'-lantern the whole time, or was it a ball?
Right.
Red ball. I understand at the end of the movie that it was a red ball because it was a play off Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But a jack-o'-lantern the whole movie for a nose?
Well, what if the doppelgangers are those that have alternate universe that they cross over at a certain point?
I mean, that's a theory as well.
Yeah. And it, you know.
It's like parallel universes. Oh, that's a whole nother video.
Right. And that was it the second Men in Black that discussed that, or was it?
Oh God, I don't know.
But there was one of them that the character could see all universes at once. Mm-hmm. And he sat there, I don't know where he was, but he looked and he's like, oh, this is this one. And he was very sad because it was like all universes had all possible combinations and all possible outcomes, and it's mind-boggling.
And he was disappointed that he wasn't in one of the other ones.
No. Well, he knew what was to happen, and he was sorrowful.
Oh.
But
dang.
I think that it was one of those that it ended differently than he saw.
Ah.
And that's one of the things with prophecy. You know, you see what can happen, or you're told what will happen. How it comes to be can be many different things.
Well, there's also a theory that our spirits or our consciousness, whatever, our spirits, like yeah, the physical body may die, but the spirit just jumps to another universe.
Right.
And so basically, we can't remember anything else happening, like how we died or whatever.
Right.
But we just immediately jumped into another thing where that didn't happen.
Speaking of jumping into things,
God.
Those are not doppelgangers. God. Those are cats, and they have, you know, individual personalities. They're always very unique.
I want to know who's who.
I don't want to. I'm glad we closed the door. I don't want to know.
It's probably it's probably the werewolf and Squeaker.
Well, anyhow, we'll figure it out.
Oh, God.
I guess that's a good place to stop.
God.
If you've had experience with doppelgangers or with, meeting your twin or something like that, I've had people tell me, it's like, oh, yeah, I saw you so-and-so. And it's like, no, you didn't. And
There's
it's like somebody that looked exactly like you. Huh?
People have also told you that you remind them of Flo.
Oh, I have no idea about that. But back in the 80s, it was like, oh, Elvira. And it's like, oh, okay. Of course, I had a couple of attributes that were much different then. Time is no woman's friend, and gravity. But if you've had experiences with supernatural, paranormal encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, doppelgangers, anything like that, just local legends, family legends, the screaming continues in the other room, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the email address is always in the description box. That one's standard. That's the reason I just copy paste. I don't even have to copy paste. They do it automatically. So anyhow, you all have an absolutely fabulous day.
Yeah. Stay safe. If you see your doppelganger, no, you don't.
Hey, when this video uploads, it will be official spooky season.
Heck yeah, spooky season!
Because it's spooky season for some of us all year round, but I need
to find a white bed sheet so I can go around, so I can walk up and down the street as a ghost.
I wouldn't do that around here. People are armed. We firm believers in 2A in this area. So no. So if you want to stand on the porch, you're fine.
I'm gonna walk up and down the street dressed as a ghost all the way down to spooky season.
No. That's not a wise thing. It truly is not.
Spooky season.
So we will do something special. There's a lot of things that I have been waiting to, a lot of subjects to approach for official spooky season. Not just our everyday lives. So if you've got a suggestion or a topic that you want, addressed during spooky season, send us an email on that too.
Yeah.
So enjoy your coffee. Enjoy your day. Know that you are loved and appreciated for the time that you spend with us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the next cup.
Subscribe.
Bye.